What's up, guys? Welcome back to King Fabin Off-Road. Today we are in the shop. We are going to be doing a little bit of brake action on Bluey. We have it taken apart, and this is where we're at on the pads. They were shot. So we're doing that real quick, and then we're going to move on to messing with the shocks on the Softail. Like I was telling you guys, that was the next thing we were doing. And I'm not sure if I'm going to put the kit in it or adjust them out. My grandpa told me those are adjustable, so we're going to check on that and we'll go from there. So we'll get these brakes thrown on. I'm not going to do this with you, it's nothing big, but that's what we're doing before we get to the shocks. Got Bluey all fixed up, got the brakes in, and now we are working on the Softail shocks. Grandpa had, well, his idea was to loosen this, and then this should thread out of the bore of the shock, and I'm not so sure that's going to happen. I tried turning it, and oh, there it goes. We're going to see now with that loose if I can just lengthen this or what the deal is, because if so, I can just leave it like that and don't have to do the lowering kit. But I bought the Burley lowering kit, so this will turn into a how-to on the Burley kit or adjusting these. Okay, so on the 99, well, actually, this should be from 89 to 99 Softails. That's what the Burley lowering kit's for anyways, with the factory Harley shocks. These are adjustable. You have literally about a nut's worth, so half an inch or so, where you can thread these to make this taller. But this was already adjusted as low or as far out as you could. So I'm gonna end up having to take this apart. First things first, always measure what you had before. I'm gonna measure from eye to eye on this shock, so that way I know when I make it longer I have something to refer to. I'll give those measurements on my bike, and then of course I'm putting different wheels and tires on mine, so when we do that and we get all the tins put back on, we'll see how it's sitting when we're done. So I'm gonna measure this up, and then we'll go over to the press, take this apart, follow some instructions that Burley gave us, and get these installed. Just doing a rough measurement. It doesn't matter entirely, but it looks like I'm 11 and a quarter. Nope, 11 inches is what my bike was factory. I don't know if that's everybody's, and I say factory, my bike might have been lowered, but I couldn't tell that it was. So we're going to start at 11, so we're going to add probably a half an inch to that, put them on the bike, and if I don't like it, I'll change it. So that's where we're at. Okay, we're over here at the press. We've got the shock here in the, it's not a clamshell, but just an opening here, so you can press down on this side. It's going to press this down, and you're going to get the clip out. Alright, you saw a little bit of pressing action. This is what it looks like as it comes out. You take the clip out, and this whole center chunk comes out. The GoPro died on me, of course, right in the middle of that, like it always does, because they're junk. And we'll get this part, and I'll show you what we're doing now. What it looks like all taken apart. Your spring, the narrow side of the spring goes down, I believe it is, towards the front of the motorcycle. Anyways, these all collect dirt. This particular bike was not very well taken care of. I don't know if you can see in there, but it is dirty. So I'm going to have Mason, who's holding the camera right now, clean these up for me while I do the other portion of this. First thing you want to do is get your jam nut loosened, and then you're going to actually loosen. This is an 1 1/16, I think, here. Get something that fits on that, and this is Loctited into the shaft, so if it doesn't spin you may need to heat it up. My last one, I've already done one and got it all completed here, but I wanted to know what I was talking about before I showed you guys this one. Anyway, so it might need heated here. Either way, get this loosened up, and I'll get it all loosened here and show you what I'm doing. It's broke loose. I didn't have to use heat yet. You always want to be careful with anything like this. Kind of work it back and forth, because anything with Loctite and threads, you know, can gull. So just be careful with that. Be mindful if it really stops as you're taking it out. You may want to think twice and put some heat on it. But it's coming out great. I'll get this off of here and show you the install process and our order of operations to putting these pieces in. Your shock unthreaded from here, screw this portion off. Notate which direction it goes. The conical side actually goes towards the shaft, or the outside, I guess you could say, where your ring was. So I always put things upside down or the way they came off. And then you need to take this nut off because you reuse it and put it on the other threads. This is the piece they send you. Let me get my story straight here in my head. You need to thread this on like, no, I'm sorry, conical side to the hex. They tell you to put Loctite on this. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm lying to you. Put it back on the order that it came off. So put your lock nut on there. It's not actually a lock nut, it's your locking nut. Might be a little coarse. Some people are saying put Put a Loctite on these. Some people are saying put anti-seize. I'm just gonna keep it lubed up, and I'm sure I will adjust this, and I'll final lube it when I'm done. So you put that on, then thread this on. It needs to be beyond, sorry, it needs to be right at flush or a little beyond. So I'm going to put it in the vise real quick, cinch it up here, and then just tighten it past where it used to be, just to get all the old threads. Okay, now that you have this past the threads, see the depth there? This is where I do agree you should put a little bit of Loctite inside of this, because this is where your shock is going to thread into, and you don't want this to thread out when you're trying to adjust. So make sure you get this threaded down there nicely, and tighten this. I think it says to 30 foot-pounds, which is approximately, well, thought it was closer than that, approximately, click click, that tight. Then thread this back up. That way it's touching this, and tighten everything to itself. That way it can't move. Tight against it, and then thread your nut up. Okay, your can is what I call it anyway, your shock body. There's an insert in here. This particular bike was disgusting, as you saw, so I cleaned as much as I could out, lubed the inside here, and then I'm reinstalling the springs. I don't know if they're all like this, but there's a mark on the bottom, which is the indicator. It says the small side towards the front, but also you'll see on the bottom of the spring some indentions from the little plastic piece. So you slide that back in there, and then we are going to slide this over like so. Make sure that you get over the end here. There's a little ground, like a seal. It doesn't actually seal anything, just supposed to keep dirt out anyways. Just make sure you don't rip that and it's all square. Then you take it back over to the press, and we're going to press it back on. It doesn't tell you guys this in your instructions, and it's not the way I would want to do it. But this is a very thick plastic lock washer, lock nut here, and if you put it in like this, it actually makes the nut, you have to put the nut on backwards from the way you would want it. I could not thread it without messing it up or trying to get it cross threaded. And I looked on YouTube and looked at some stuff, and everyone was putting them on this way because it's the only way you can really start them. And you thread it in there. You're just going to have to tighten it backwards from what you would be used to doing. So that's what I'm going to do, and thread it in there and go press this back in. I'm going to press this down. It's going to get loud, and put snap ring back in. Make sure you get it seated in the indentation and it snaps in like you just heard there, and lightly release your press. There's a ton of pressure literally on there right now. Make sure it releases and everything looks square. Once you have that, you are done with your install. That concludes putting everything together. Like I said, we ended up, now this is a little bit turned out. And of course it's hard to get a center line for sure on the tape measure, but just at a maximum, this pretty much, it says, I think it goes from 1/2 inch to 2 inch of lowering, which is a lot of lowering on a bike, but it pretty much puts it a fuzz under your stock if you have everything threaded in. So it's at like 11 1/4 right now, and I started at 11. So I'm gonna probably set these at 11 1/2 and see how I like it when we put it on there. I'll let you guys know in the end. But this is what they look like all installed, everything put together. So for you guys looking to do this burly install on your what is it, 89 to 99, that should cover that. So hopefully this answered some questions that I was trying to find online for you, and this is it, guys. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.